So the United States Operation Midnight Hammer has battered Iran's nuclear sites, and it has also stunned the entire world. Washington has claimed to have obliterated all 3 nuclear facilities, and this time the official confirmation has come from the U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. In a first detailed news press briefing after the full-fledged attack, the Pentagon chief repeated Trump's claim that U.S. has obliterated Iranian nuclear sites. Hegseth addressed the media alongside the U.S. chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Kane, and issued stern warning to Iran, saying any retaliation by Tehran against Washington will be met with force far greater. He also heaped praise on President Donald Trump, calling his decision bold and brilliant.
He sent out a truth last night saying this: any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. Signed, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Iran would be smart to heed those words. He's said it before, and he means it. I want to give recognition to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
So let's get you more breaking updates coming in. The B-2 stealth bombers that dropped massive bunker buster bombs on Iran's nuclear sites have returned to their home base in Missouri. According to the Associated Press, 7 B-2 Spirit aircraft landed on Sunday at the Whitman Air Force Base, located around 73 miles southeast of the Kansas City. This base houses the 509th Bomb Wing, the only U.S. unit that is equipped to fly the B-2 bombers. Now, B-2 bombers have hit the headlines for the ability that they have and how they have hit the nuclear sites in Iran. And now, in completing the successful mission, the B-2 stealth bombers have, after dropping massive bunker buster bombs on Iran's nuclear sites, returned to their home base. This marks the completion of the entire mission. Remember, the U.S. President Donald Trump had tweeted about the bombs being dropped on the nuclear sites in Iran only after the B-2 stealth bombers were out of the Iranian airspace. And after that confirmation came in, it's a long journey. In fact, we're told it took 37 hours. It was a 37-hour mission to hit the nuclear sites in Iran, with refueling being done multiple times mid-air. So the B-2 stealth bombers have been hailed for carrying out the job. The U.S. President Donald Trump saying that we could not have done it without them. He hailed the patriots who flew the B-2 stealth bombers as well, dropping these bunker buster bombs on Iran's nuclear sites, obliterating them completely, and then returning to the home base. Now, the U.S. chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has offered some key details about what they call a bold and brilliant U.S. airstrike on Iran. Kane briefed the timings and the nature of the attack. Remember, there have been a lot of questions. How was the attack carried out? When did it begin from the home base? All of these questions were answered. Take a look.
I'll refer you to the graphic on the side as I walk you through some of the operational details. At midnight Friday into Saturday morning, a large B-2 strike package comprised of bombers launched from the continental United States. As part of a plan to maintain tactical surprise, part of the package proceeded to the west and into the Pacific as a decoy, a deception effort known only to an extremely small number of planners and key leaders here in Washington and in Tampa. The main strike package, comprised of 7 B-2 Spirit bombers, each with 2 crew members, proceeded quietly to the east with minimal communications. Throughout the 18-hour flight into the target area, the aircraft completed multiple in-flight refuelings. Once over land, the B-2s linked up with escort and support aircraft in a complex tightly timed maneuver requiring exact synchronization across multiple platforms in a narrow piece of airspace. At approximately 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time last night, and just prior to the strike package entering Iran, a U.S. submarine in the Central Command Area of Responsibility launched more than 24 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles against key surface infrastructure targets at Esfahan. At approximately 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2:10 a.m. Iran time, the lead B-2 dropped 2 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator weapons on the first of several aim points at Fordow. As the president stated last night, the remaining bombers then hit their targets as well, with a total of 14 MOPs dropped against 2 nuclear target areas. All 3 Iranian nuclear infrastructure targets were struck between 6:40 p.m. and 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, that's about 2:10 in the morning local time in Iran.
So these were the key details of the entire operation on how the United States carried out this attack in the Iranian nuclear sites. Now, remember, it's a 37-hour journey, and the timeline is on your screens as well. The tankers refueling at multiple points, but not stopping. The refueling taking place mid-air, after which, the time that you're seeing there, about 6:40 to 9 EDT, is when the bombers are said to have entered the Iranian airspace. Now, these stealth bombers are known to be very, very low on the radar. It's not easy to detect. In fact, it's said to be only as much as a bird. That's the detection that would be seen. So it is known to be a stealth bomber. It entered the Iranian airspace, taking Iran by complete surprise, hitting the nuclear sites that Iran thought had been well hidden within. So the key details have been revealed by the United States. But let's talk more about what this B-2 bomber is, since there is a lot of interest in what the bomber was. If not for the United States, no other country, no other military in the world could have targeted these sites hidden and well protected within Iran. So let's talk about the journey that was undertaken by the U.S. military. Now, it started off from the Missouri Air Force Base, and that was the starting point, after which there have been, like we mentioned, multiple refueling that took place. So there were 2 formations of the 4 KC-135 over Kansas, and this is where the refueling took place without stopping at all. So it was a continuous journey with refueling taking place mid-air. It's a trans-Pacific flight with bombers proceeding across the continental United States and across the Pacific Ocean as well. So the entire journey being undertaken, a continuous flight operation taking place, and then finally entering the Iranian airspace. And this is where the challenge comes in, because if it is detected, then what happens? But remember, this is a low radar or not easy to detect aircraft. So it entered the Iranian airspace and then attacked the nuclear sites and came back safe, now finally returning to the United States. The takeoff to strike taking place in 17 hours. In fact, while answering a series of questions, the U.S. Secretary of Defense also warned Iran, saying Tehran should not even think about retaliation.
What will be your next step if Iran or militias under Iranian influence in the region attack U.S. interests or allies in the region?
Ultimately, wherever it may be, whether it's in Iraq or Syria or bases in the Gulf, as the president said, it would be as the chairman said, it would be a very bad idea for Iran or its proxies to attempt to attack American forces.
So monumental damage was done to all nuclear sites. That's the claim that has come in from Donald Trump. Remember, the U.S. president has been giving updates on social media, and he says this comes amid Iran claiming not much damage has been done. But Donald Trump has claimed that monumental damage was done to all nuclear sites in Iran, as shown by the satellite images. Obliteration is an accurate term. The white structure shown is deeply embedded into the rock. So he's talking about the satellite images which we had also put out last evening. He speaks about how even the roof well below the ground level have been shielded from flame, and the biggest damage has taken place below the ground level. So since this is where the nuclear facility was, deep underground, Donald Trump says that it has been hit effectively, and he says bullseye. And well, with that, it's time for us to slip into a very short break here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with lots more on the other side.